The rain was so loud it swallowed my screams. I was 15, shaking on the side of a highway, watching my parents' taillights fade into the storm because my sister told a lie and they chose to believe her. The storm came out of nowhere, the kind that turns the sky green and makes the air feel heavy in your lungs. Wind slapped the trees hard enough to bend them sideways. Rain hammered the roof of our old blue sedan as my dad drove faster than he should have, his jaw locked tight. No one spoke. My mom stared straight ahead, hands clenched in her lap. My little sister, Emily, sat beside her, arms crossed, eyes red but dry. She kept stealing quick looks at me through the rearview mirror, then looking away. I knew that look. Guilt, but not enough to stop her. It had started that afternoon. Emily's bracelet, our grandmother's, went missing. She panicked, she cried, and somehow, without hesitation, she said my name. I saw him take it. That was all it took. I tried to explain. I begged them to check my room, my backpack, anything. My dad didn't yell. That scared me more. He just sighed, like he was tired of me, like this was proof of something he'd already decided. By the time we were in the car, the truth didn't matter anymore. The road we turned onto wasn't familiar. No houses, no lights, just trees and wet asphalt stretching into darkness. "Where are we going?" I asked, my voice cracking. No answer. The car slowed near an old service road by the woods. My dad pulled over. Rain instantly flooded the silence, pounding so hard it felt violent. "Get out," he said. I laughed at first, a short, broken sound. "You're kidding." He wasn't. My mom finally looked at me then. Her eyes were shiny, but her face was cold. "You need to think about what you've done." I didn't do anything. Emily lied. Emily flinched, but said nothing. My hands shook as I opened the door. The wind ripped it wider, rain soaking my hoodie in seconds. Mud splashed my sneakers when I stepped out. "Please," I said, "you can't just leave me." My dad wouldn't meet my eyes. "We're teaching you a lesson." The door slammed. The car pulled away. I stood there, stunned, watching the red lights disappear into the rain. The storm swallowed the sound of the engine, then swallowed everything else. I was alone. My phone had one bar, no signal. Water dripped down my face, mixing with tears I refused to let fall. I didn't know where I was, how far the nearest house might be, or how long I could stand there before something worse found me. Thunder cracked so close I felt it in my chest. That was when I heard footsteps behind me, slow, careful, and not my parents coming back. I turned, heart racing, realizing this night wasn't done with me yet. I froze. The footsteps grew louder, slow and uneven, crunching against wet gravel and broken branches. My heart slammed so hard I thought it might give me away. I scanned the darkness, trying to see through the sheets of rain, but the storm blurred everything into shadows. "Hello," a voice called out. It was deep, rough around the edges, but not angry. I didn't answer right away. My throat felt tight, my body split between fear and hope. I took a step back, my heel slipping in the mud.
"Easy," the voice said. "I'm not here to hurt you." A figure emerged from the rain. A man, maybe in his late 40s or early 50s, wearing a dark raincoat and holding a flashlight pointed toward the ground, not my face. He stopped several feet away, giving me space. "You okay, kid?" he asked. I shook my head before I even realized it. The truth spilled out of me in a broken breath. "They left me, my parents. They just drove away." The man's brow furrowed. He looked past me, down the empty road, then back at my soaked clothes and shaking hands. His jaw tightened. "In this weather?" he muttered, more to himself than to me. Another crack of thunder lit up the sky, and for a split second I saw his face clearly. There was something familiar about it, something that tugged at my memory, but I was too scared, too cold to place it. "I live not far from here," he said carefully. "Got a truck parked up the road. You can wait out the storm, warm up. I'll call the police or whoever you need." Every warning my parents ever taught me screamed in my head. Don't trust strangers, don't get in cars, don't follow people into the dark. But my parents were gone, and the storm wasn't slowing down. I don't have signal, I said, holding up my phone. He nodded. Figures, that dead zone's been there for years. Years? That meant he knew this place. I hesitated, rain soaking me to the bone now, my teeth chattering uncontrollably. Finally, I nodded. Okay, I whispered. He walked ahead of me, never rushing, never turning his back fully. His truck was old, mud-splattered, but solid. When I climbed inside, the warmth hit me so hard it almost hurt. He handed me a towel from the back seat. Dry off as best you can. As he drove, I stared out the window, my mind replaying my parents' faces when they left. My dad's tight jaw, my mom's turned-away eyes, Emily's silence. She lied, I said suddenly. The man glanced at me. About what? About stealing something. They believed her. He exhaled slowly, gripping the steering wheel. Families don't always get it right. That was when his hand shook. Just slightly, but I noticed. We pulled into a small property surrounded by trees, a single-story house with a porch light glowing like a beacon. Inside, the air smelled like coffee and old wood. He handed me a blanket and told me to sit by the heater. I'm gonna make a call. You hungry? I nodded again, exhaustion crashing over me. As he turned away, his wallet slipped from his pocket and hit the floor. I bent down to pick it up, and that's when I saw the photo inside. My breath caught, because standing next to this man, smiling, arms slung over his shoulder, was my dad. And suddenly, the storm outside wasn't the most dangerous thing anymore. My fingers froze around the wallet. For a second, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. I leaned closer, my heart pounding so hard it filled my ears. The photo was old, edges worn soft, but there was no mistaking it. My dad was younger in it, no gray in his beard, his arm was around this man's shoulder, both of them smiling like they shared a secret the world didn't know. I snapped the wallet shut just as the man turned back toward me. You okay? He asked. I nodded too fast. Yeah, just tired. He didn't look convinced, but he didn't push. He took the wallet from my hand, slid it into his pocket, and went into the kitchen. I sat stiffly on the couch, wrapped in the blanket, my thoughts racing. Why did he have a picture with my dad? And why had my dad's hands been shaking when he left me on that road? The man returned with a grilled cheese sandwich and a mug of soup. Eat, he said gently. You'll feel better. I forced myself to take a bite. My stomach growled, betraying me. The food was warm, comforting, too comforting for how uneasy I felt. What's your name? He asked. Jake, I said. He paused, just for a beat. I'm Mark. Another lie buzzed in my head, unspoken. I wanted to ask him about the photo, I wanted to demand answers, but fear held my tongue. Mark sat across from me, hands wrapped around his own mug. They trembled again. You said your parents left you, he said quietly. That shouldn't have happened. You know my dad, I blurted before I could stop myself. The room went still. Mark's eyes lifted slowly to mine. What? I saw the photo, I said. My voice shook now. You and him. For a long moment he didn't move. Then he leaned back, staring at the ceiling like it might give him strength. So, that's how tonight's going to go. Who are you? I asked. He rubbed his face, the lines around his eyes deepening. Someone your father hoped you'd never meet. My chest tightened. Why? Mark stood and walked to a small cabinet, pulling out another photo frame. He set it on the table between us. It was a picture of a baby, wrapped in a blue blanket, tiny hand gripping an adult finger. That was you, he said. My breath hitched. That's not possible. I was there the night you were born, before things went wrong. The room felt smaller, hotter. My head spun. Your father and I grew up together. We were like brothers, until a choice was made, one that split everything apart. Thunder rolled again, distant now, but heavy. And tonight, he added, he knew if he left you out there, this was the place you'd end up. My skin prickled. You mean he knew you'd find me? Mark nodded slowly. He was counting on it. That's when it hit me. This wasn't punishment. This was something else. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. Why didn't he just tell me? I asked. Why leave me like that? Mark's eyes darkened. Because the lie your sister told tonight was the same lie that destroyed our family years ago. My heart sank. What lie? Before he could answer, headlights swept across the front window, a car pulling into the driveway. Mark turned pale. That, he said quietly, shouldn't be happening. The front door handle began to turn, and I knew, whatever truth was about to come out, it was going to tear everything open. The door handle stopped moving. For a long second, nothing happened. No knock, no voices, just the low hum of the heater and the rain tapping against the windows like impatient fingers. Mark motioned for me to stay quiet. He moved slowly, every step careful, like the floor might betray him. He reached the door and looked through the peephole. His shoulders sagged. "It's your parents," he said. My stomach dropped. Before I could react, the knocking started. Firm, urgent, familiar. "Mark!" my dad's voice called. "Open the door." Mark closed his eyes. When he opened the door, the porch light revealed my parents standing there, soaked from the rain. My mom's makeup had streaked down her face. My dad looked older than I'd ever seen him, smaller. His hands were shaking. "Jake," my mom whispered when she saw me behind Mark. She took a step forward, then stopped, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to cross that line anymore. "You left me," I said. The words weren't loud. They didn't need to be. My dad swallowed hard. "We panicked." "No," Mark said sharply. "You ran." The tension snapped tight between them, thick with years of things unsaid. My dad wouldn't meet Mark's eyes. "We didn't plan this," my dad said. "Emily told us." "She lied," I said. "You knew it, didn't you?" Silence answered me. That was all the confirmation I needed. Mark stepped aside, letting them in. "Sit," he said. "All of you. This ends tonight." We gathered in the living room like strangers forced into the same space. Rain dripped from my dad's jacket onto the floor. My mom wrung her hands until her knuckles turned white. "Tell him," Mark said to my dad, "or I will." My dad's chest rose and fell unevenly. "When you were born," he began, "there were questions." "What kind of questions?" I asked. "About your mother," Mark said quietly, "and about me." My mom gasped. "Don't!" "The lie," Mark continued, ignoring her, "was that I crossed a line, that I betrayed him, that I took something that wasn't mine." My dad's voice broke. "Emily's bracelet wasn't the first time." I stared at him. "What are you saying?" "Your sister lies when she's scared. She always has. When she was little, she broke things and blamed you, hurt herself and blamed you. Tonight, she panicked. And you believed her," I said. "Again." My mom finally spoke. "We thought if we scared you enough, you'd confess." "To something I didn't do," I shot back. Mark leaned forward. "And when you left him on that road, you knew I'd find him, because you couldn't face him." My dad nodded, tears spilling now. "I was afraid of what he'd learn." My heart pounded. "What learn?" Mark took a breath. "That I'm your biological father." The words hit like thunder. "No, that's not—" "It is," my mom whispered. "And your father—" She looked at my dad. "He chose to raise you anyway." But the lie never went away. I looked at my dad, the man who taught me how to ride a bike, who grounded me, who left me in a storm. "I never wanted you hurt, but tonight I lost control." Outside, the storm finally began to fade.
but inside that room, everything felt broken beyond repair. And then my phone buzzed. One bar, one message. From Emily. And whatever she had written made my mom cry out loud, because the lie wasn't over yet. My mom's phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor. No one moved to pick it up. "I can't," she whispered. "I can't read it again." I reached down and grabbed the phone before anyone could stop me. My fingers felt numb as I opened the message. Emily's name glowed on the screen. "I'm sorry. I lied. I found the bracelet in my bag. I didn't think they'd actually leave you. Please don't hate me." The room went silent. Not the calm kind of silence, but the heavy kind. The kind that presses on your chest until it's hard to breathe. My dad covered his face with both hands. His shoulders shook as quiet sobs broke through. For the first time, I didn't feel angry at him. I felt tired. "So that's it," I said. "You knew she lies. You knew it, and you still left me." "I thought," he looked up at me, eyes red. "I thought Mark would find you fast. I told myself you'd be safe." "You told yourself a lot of things," Mark said quietly. My mom finally broke down, crying into her palms. "We failed you. We failed both of you." I looked around the room, at the man who raised me, at the man who saved me, at the truth that had been buried under years of fear and silence. "Emily needs help," I said, "not excuses." My parents nodded, too broken to argue. "I'm not going back tonight," I added. My dad flinched. "I know." Mark stood. "You can stay here as long as you want." I hesitated. "I don't know what to call you." He smiled sadly. "You don't have to call me anything yet." The police arrived an hour later, not to arrest anyone, but to make a report, to make sure what happened was on record. My parents didn't argue. They didn't try to defend themselves. For once, the truth stood on its own. By morning, the storm was gone. The road where I'd been left looked ordinary in daylight, harmless, like it had never tried to swallow me whole. But I knew better. Before my parents left, my dad stopped in the doorway. "I don't deserve forgiveness," he said, "but I hope someday you'll let me earn it." I didn't answer, not because I hated him, but because I wasn't ready. Healing doesn't happen just because the rain stops. Over the next few weeks, everything changed. My sister started therapy. My parents started telling the truth, even when it hurt. And I stayed with Mark, learning pieces of a life that had almost been mine. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear the rain, still see those taillights disappearing. But I also remember the flashlight cutting through the dark, the door that opened, the hands that steadied me when the world fell apart. My dad once told me storms reveal who people really are. He was right, because that night I learned something I'll never forget. Family isn't just who leaves you in the dark. It's who finds you when you're lost and chooses not to walk away.